Is that all you've got?
Is that all? I'm just getting started.
Well, bring it on then.
Imagine being a webtoon writer, and you rent an apartment in the middle of the mountains, expecting quietness. And what do you receive? Freaking noise everywhere! That is what this webtoon is about. Also, how the main character is supposed to solve the problem. Will you move? Well, you can't because of a 2-year lease. Okay, what about telling security? Okay, that neither. Let's talk with the people to be more conscious about their neighbors. Well, let's try it. Okay, that didn't work at all. What in the actual do I do then? Well, let me tell you. The solution is simple. Get some speakers, put them against the ceiling, and turn the freaking volume to the max. Yup, apply fire versus fire. That is the problem solver. However, what happened? Freaking chaos happened. And to make matters worse, due to all the noise of the apartment complex, the farm on the other side of the mountain sued the whole apartment complex because all the animals there died due to stress. This is what this webtoon is exactly about. Messing with all the ridiculousness that you could imagine and putting them here. And then they say to you, well, now that all these things happened, solve it. The name of this webtoon is Subtle Disaster. It only has 45 chapters, but it's pretty good. And there are lots of characters in the webtoon, but the main ones are the main character named Song Shin-ha, that is living in apartment 202, and is a webtoon writer, trying to finish his series and living in what he expected to be a quiet place, but turned out to be an annoyance and a problem that he didn't expect at all. The neighbor of the main character, Yoo-hun Kim, living in apartment 203, who, if you read it, you will probably hate her. I really like her actually. And no, you know that is not because she is a woman, so don't kill me. The family in apartment 302, which I personally believe that is the problem at the start of the series, and they simply want to live in their own bubble. The woman named Eun Song and his child in apartment 102, whom I can finally say, you. Oof. Finally, I let it out. Okay, let's proceed. She is probably one of the worst characters I encountered in a while. A man that seems like a gangster in apartment 401, that is a dog lover and will basically do anything to not see one injured. The security guard who is blinded by something and naive for believing in that something, in which he will have to pay for the situation. The man in apartment 403 that is in a wheelchair and simply wanted to hear some music. And the main character's girlfriend, Adam, that had her reason to be how it is, and I totally get it. But as well, she didn't even try to understand the situation about what was happening. This story is actually driven by them, and not the story itself if you think about it and read it. Because of all the characters' personalities, there are a lot of situations that they will have to solve, and because of those personalities, the problem-solving skills that they have will give them more problems. And even though I'm saying that the story is not the main point and the characters are the ones that drive this story, I really have to give it to the author for having a really good storytelling ability. Yes, it is extremely frustrating being in the position of those characters, and you will probably think that they are not real, but is in my perspective an accurate example of today's society. Currently, we don't give a damn about what happens to others, and if it benefits us, we will gladly do whatever it takes. Morals were thrown away, even though they say that they are morally right. They simply blindly follow their ideals without awareness of what will come. But being real, we simply don't care. And now that the internet is probably in the all-time highs of users actively surfing inside, we care even less if something is correct or not, because we want to be satisfied when watching something, even if it mocks different people or discriminates against them. We are joyful of having the hard laughs that we want. And don't get me wrong, not everyone is like that, but that is how people are becoming nowadays, instead of giving a helping hand to one another. And as I am saying all this, we have to remind that not everything in the world is black or white. Every aspect of the world has good things and bad things in it. And I will still advise you that when reading the webtoon, don't feel any empathy for the characters, and drive that empathy towards real people that really need your help. Even though people don't say it, there are a lot of people that need help because that is how life is. We know no backgrounds, and that doesn't have to concern us either. But what we can do is simply give aid to where it is needed. There as well will be a lot of times while reading this webtoon that you will feel either frustrated, annoyed, pissed, or even more, or all of them at the same time. But you will simply could not stop reading it because again, the author is a craft master in doing stories. And please, if you read it, don't read the comments, because I really felt angry AF reading them for research when doing this video, and was so angry about how many people were double-faced. Even thinking about it is getting me annoyed. However, one of the things that the webtoon executes absolutely well is the art style. It is consistent in every aspect, and there is no slacking by the author. The drawing style is commendable, and in my opinion, depicts perfectly the situations that the characters are dealing with and is displayed extremely well. I don't know if any other art style will suit better the webtoon or not, but with this one, you feel the seriousness and the ridiculousness of the characters as how the author wants to portray them. And let me tell you, even though I am showing you everything that is entertaining here, this story is also deep. It touches on topics that are really difficult to handle, but that is mostly towards the end of this story. Because it shows no matter what happens in life, even if we are at the lowest point of our life, we are able to endure whatever comes and we are able to fight it. But there are some times when we simply can't handle everything that is thrown at us and we are bound to be broken. And I somewhat agree with what Yuhon said in chapter 44. Most disasters happen like that. We were just living there. We just happened to be in that place, but it appeared out of nowhere right in front of us. And there's just no way to avoid it. But what we overlook is the worst and most, because not every one of them is unavoidable. It is simply an effect of the choices that the people took in the course of their lives, and this cycle will be repeated throughout the history of mankind. This webtoon is pretty good, even though it will drive you nuts. At the end of the day, you will shift those thoughts when you read the final chapters, because this webtoon is a subtle disaster. Hey, nothing here. Thanks for watching the video. I wanted to do it longer, but I mismanaged the time so badly that I wasn't able to meet the deadline and even finish my other video, so you will have it on January. I also wanted to inform you about how is the schedule for the upcoming videos. If you saw the videos that I already uploaded, there were 2 manhwas and now there are 2 webtoons. I will follow that trend, and what I will do is first manhwa, then webtoon, manhwa, manga, and the last one will be anime. So just for you to take it into account for the next videos. Either way, I appreciate your time and now I will finally be able to sleep. But before that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.